email address. Okay. So that's that about creating a table. We have created the table, one of the tables. So we want to create another table. We want to create another table in the same database. The database we are using is student DB. So this is student DB. You see new again. This is the reg table that we have created before. So you see another one here. So let's call this one courses. The name of this table, let's call it courses. So under here we have ID, which is the first for each table. Then we have course name. Well, this is not the best practice, but sometimes it's important that you capture all the foreign keys. Immediately you have your primary key, you have the foreign keys. It's a good practice. But if you don't want to do that, it's also up to you. Nobody will query you on that one. It's choice. What I wanted to do is to say student ID here. So this student ID is the foreign key that will connect students to this course. This is courses. This is not student table. This is courses table. Okay. So you can now have course name. You can now have course ID, course code rather. I'm adding another column so that I will have course units. Depending on your design, you may also want to capture semester or lecturer. Okay, let's capture lecturer too. Courses, are they done by session? No. Okay, session and semester. Do you want us to capture session and semester here? Okay. So that means we are creating 3 more columns. So one is semester, the other one is session, and the other one is lecturer ID. Lecturer ID. Now, another consistency, ID. Most people like using capital letter while they're writing ID, like lecturer ID, student ID. If that is what you want to do, like I told you, nobody queries you on the pattern you want to follow. Where you get the queries if you are not consistent. So if you want to be using capital ID, please use it all through. Otherwise, you can use camel case. Yes. There was a question hanging on the air when I left. Okay, you say you don't know what is camel case. Have someone told you now? Camel case is when two words are forming one word, like course name, email address. Those are two words. So when you bring them together, how do you separate them? You can use underscore, but you don't have to use space. Or you use camel case, where the next word is capitalized. Just like this course name, you can see here and here is capital. Course code, see here is capital. That's what is camel case. Course unit, U is capital. Lecturer ID, not lecture. Lecturer ID, that's the teacher of the course. All right, so you now come to this place. ID is integer. Student ID is integer. Course name is varchar. Course code is varchar. Course unit is integer. Semester is varchar. Well, it depends on how you want to do it. You can use semester 1, 2. You can also want to write it in full. You can just write it first semester, second semester. You can try to write 1 ST semester, 2 ND semester. It's also your choice. So in the design, you will know how you want to use it. Session is usually year, like 2024 slash. So it's varchar, correct? You are very smart. Okay, so lecture ID is also integer. Course name, can use 100. Course code is usually 5. No, the ID you're talking about is the primary key, which is this ID, here, is integer. That's why it's called it's called global best practice. Another person will pick your work. You don't need to wonder what you did. You understand what you did. Any ID is integer and is auto-increment. So the course code is usually 5, like where you have MTH 102. No, it's 7. No. Check, let's be sure. Write one course code on your this thing and check on your paper. You know what is course code now? Like MTH com 112. It's 7, no, because you have to give space between the com and the 101. So it's 7. Because if you say 6, it will cut off 1. Yes. And create a table called course. Later you sort out the other one. Course unit is integer, so we are not putting anything. Semester, like we said, you are the one that knows during the design. Are you using sem 1, sem 2? Are you saying semester 1, semester 2? Are you saying first semester, second semester? All those things are decisions you make during your design, and they will make you know the length that you are going to use. But let's use 40, so that even if you are using second semester, it will accommodate it. 40 is much, starting. Course unit. Unit is integer now, so we don't need to do something. Session. 2025 is 4, slash is 5, 9. Hmm? No, I later checked it. Semester is not even up to 20. Second is not up to 10. So if you put two of them, 30, and they are the longest. Because even if you are using first is shorter than second. Let me ask this question. Why will somebody not just give any number and continue? Like this semester, why don't we just put 50 or 40 and continue? After all, it will accommodate it. Okay. So that is the answer. If you give those bogus, remember that any space you give, you are giving instruction to the system. They will create that space and keep it. If you are not using it, you see that you've created spaces that are not being used. You'll be consuming system resources unnecessarily. So you write a program, when somebody loads your program, the system will start hanging. So that's why you have to be sure and careful to know that the value you are giving is actually what it is. That's why an engineer is required to design a new system. It's not just to come to before you come here, like I was telling you, this is a developer's work, not a software engineering work. Software engineering work is that one you do on paper, where you have think out all these things, where you have decided that this is the value that we are going to use. So this is the length. You write it on paper before you come over here. And that's the hardest part of the work. That's why they pay you high than they pay developers. Okay, so lecturer ID is integer, so we are not adding it. We now go to default. There is nothing we can do as default here, except if you think that anybody registered, maybe this is the first year that the people are going to register here, and this is 2025. You can decide to use 2025 to do the session, make a default session, or you can use first semester as the default session so that you don't need to ask students to put their semester. There are some systems, when you are filling it, you see male is there as default in gender. But if you're not a female, you change it, especially when it's tech or where they think that men dominate this area. It helps to limit the time someone spends in filling your form. It's also a design. It's a user-friendly way of designing. You know what much people will do, more than half of the people will do on the system. You make that one default. It's just like where you're filling a form now. Let's say you designed a form for people to fill, and Nigeria is the catchment area, and you are listing all the states, all the countries rather. You can make Nigeria the first and others, so that since it's many Nigerians that will fill it, they don't need to touch it, so it will save their time. It's a user-friendly way. Do you understand the meaning of default? So, but whereby such doesn't apply, you leave it. You don't have to put it just because you want to put it when it is not necessary. So the next thing I will do is to come to this place and put my AI and then save. You can preview this in SQL. This thing we are doing manually. You want to see the SQL code that will do it, because sometimes you may not have a platform like this. Well, the platform like this, they have come to stay. But sometimes you may want to see the code that is. This is part of the code that I gave you, or the teacher supposed to show you last week, how to create a table. Where you write create table. Now this is we are doing design. This is a code. If this MySQL is not here, this is the code you will write manually. If you write this code manually, it will create this table by itself. Create table student from student DB. The name of the table is course. Now the columns there are ID, is integer, is not null, it is auto increment. You now have student ID, is integer, is not null, and so on. So by the time you speak all this grammar and then submit, it will create the table by itself. Yes. See? If you want to see it now, just click save. Just click save. To see the code, you click on preview SQL. See it. Yes. No, you preview before. Once you save, you can't see it again. But I will show you where the code is important, where you can use the code very importantly, even though you have an interface like this. Yes. Yes. Let me go back to. Um, I'm here and I want to do default, and I say as defined. You type what you want to define here. Yes, if I want to make first semester to be the default, I will come here and say first semester. So anybody that is filling the form, you don't need to touch here, except you are now talking about second semester. That's when you need to change it. Once it's first semester, you need to submit for you. Is that what you're asking? Yes. You put the address here too. Now. I told you that what you save here is yes, you copy the image address. You know how to copy image address? If you see it, see it now. Let me show you now. Wherever the image is on your computer, this is an image. So you right click on it, You go to properties. This is the address. You copy this address, you now put slash the name. This is the name. The name is MyPix, and this is the address where it is. So if I copy this now, I'll go here and put slash MyPix. Or if I didn't memorize the name, I'll go back to the system and copy it here. Because if you make spelling error, it will not connect. One letter out, it doesn't connect. So that's why copying and pasting is better. So you copy it and then go to the end here, put slash, and paste it, and save it. So immediately you run this code, this picture will be showing. All right. I don't want to put my picture. Yes. Sorry. Yes, you add the extension. If you don't add the extension, it's not a picture. It's not show. It doesn't exist in the text. It's a column ID. Doesn't exist in the text. So why did you tell me that? Why did you do anything that has to do with this ID? So you just say colon. It's not. So I remove the primary key. So click it and then assign it as primary key again. Yes. Okay, so we need to create another table, the lecturer, so that we can have the lecturer ID, how it works. So go to new, create another table. We call this lecturer. You have the ID first. You now have name. You have phone. You have email. I just want us to make it brief. Just these four: ID, name, phone, email. Name is ID. Name is Vaka. Phone is Vaka. Email is Vaka. Name is 60. Phone number is 13. Email is 60. ID is AI. Then you submit. So if you look at this table, if I'm to draw the relationship diagram for this table, I will also introduce you to SQL Workbench. That will be the last lecture that we have. So the SQL Workbench will help you draw relationship diagrams, which you attach to your documentation. It's part of the documentation. But let me show you the table, then I will draw it for you to see. This table, this table has lecturer ID and also have student ID. That is the relationship that this table has with others. So that makes this the central table. Let me bring out paint. Paint, no. I wanted to use paint, but let me use Word. Word will go show it more. So what I want to show here is that this table, being the student registration table, and we have another table, the one we call cost table. We have another table which we call lecturer table. We are talking about relationship. How are these tables related? These students have a column we call ID. This guy also have a column we call ID. Then inside here, we made room for student ID. We also made room for lecturer ID. So the relationship now, the relationship diagram is that this ID is connected here. This one is connected here. This is the entity relationship diagram of that database that we created. So this is the database now. So this is the student DB. This is a student database. Now inside this database, we have three tables: the student registration table, the course table, and the lecturer ID. The lecturer will teach the courses. The students will take the courses. So from this table, we'll be able to, when we are doing generating reports or doing analysis of this table, we'll be able to know how many lecturers have taught their courses, how many students partake in each of the courses. You can from here take attendance, you can from here do a lot of things you want to do. So this is what is relationship diagram and how they come to be. So during the design, that's when all these diagrams have been made. That's how you will know the kind of table columns that you will have. If you look at this course table now, you see student ID, you see lecturer ID. Any lecturer that comes to teach the course, the ID of that lecturer will be saved. Let's quickly create some lecturers. Click on lecturer ID and go to insert. This is where we are. Lecturer. The active table here is lecturer table. And I say click on insert. Insert. You want to create lecturers now. So the ID, you don't put anything in the ID because it's auto increment. Then on the name, you can put any lecturer's name. Maybe Dr. Hayat. His phone number, you can write any number you like. His email address, you can write any email address you like. You put another name, Mr. Tunde or Prof. Tunde. Phone number, email. So it gives you only two values, two entities. When you fill the two entities, you come down and click go. Now, this is the code. I've generated the code that is used. Now, if you want to, I will show you how this code can come. If you want to now add more persons, using the code is now easier. You can see the two persons that I added. They are here already. Dr. Hayat is here, Prof. Tunde is here. They have already saved. So for me to add more persons, I will just change their names here. Maybe you want to add Engineer Chidi here. You change this one to Engineer Chidi. But make sure the semicolons and commas, you don't remove them. If you remove it, it will not save. Make sure you're changing only the content. You need to be very careful while altering something here. So when you are done writing the code, you click on go. So if I go back to browse now, I've created 4 lecturers. Notice how the auto increment is incrementing. If you have created only 2, that means you didn't make use of that code now. When that code is generated, it's easier. Even if you want to put 20 persons, you just be editing the names. Even at this place, if you want to insert, you can go to insert and then go straight to SQL. It will show you the code. Then you now start inserting from here. Or you go to SQL direct, from SQL, sorry. From SQL here, you go to insert, and you now start putting the values. Start putting the values. It's faster for you than filling the form. I'm here now. I'm here. So I click on insert. It takes me here. When you fill the form and submit, it will take you to the code, to the SQL environment. If you want to get to SQL environment direct, you click here. You click on SQL, and it takes you here. I want you to note that both people using Oracle, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MySQL, is the same SQL statement that they are writing. So don't let somebody that say, oh, I'm using or I'm using Oracle to make you feel like, hey, this guy is high. It's not true. It's SQL. It's just a company name. So if you click on SQL, you click on insert, you see the insert code format. So you now come and be changing these things here with your own value if you want to. Otherwise, if you are confused with it, you click on insert and fill the form manually. And fill the forms manually. Anyone you choose. But however, we have already done this. I want us to do something else. Something else is in the student reg table. Or let's fill some courses. You want to fill a course that one of the lecturers is teaching. Maybe lecturer 2, Prof. Tunde is lecturer 2. In the course table, if lecturer 2, which is Dr. Tunde, is filling a form, if you go to insert, the course name, let's say software engineering, the course code, I will apply 110. The course unit, maybe 3. The semester, session 2025, 2026. Lecturer ID 2. So this lecturer ID 2 that I put here represents whoever the name is 2, which is Tunde, on the other side. So here, it has given me the code. So what I need to do here is just edit and put another piece. But it's recognizing here as empty. That's why I have this error, because I didn't put any students. And we didn't say that students are null. So if I don't want to see this error, I can go to this table and tell it to allow me use students as null. So I will just change students and say it is null, and then I save it. It's from the software engineer. Okay, who doesn't know how to change this? The software engineer person is not there. It's his fault now. The programmer have to refer back to him. But some programmers also know how to do this one we are doing now. Like I told you, this is a programmer's work. This is a developer's work. It's not the software engineering work. Yes, it's flexible. You can adjust it. That's why we are learning about this adjustment. you can adjust it. That developer can also adjust it. But they won't do it without your permission. Because why those foreign keys are not supposed to be altered is because it helps to checkmate something. It means that before you create courses, students must have registered. So if students have registered, you can now know the student ID to put there. You see it. So if you are using it as a check to make sure students register before, because it's a foreign key, you don't alter it like that. But if it is a mistake or an oversight from you, then you can go ahead. So now that I've altered this, I can insert without putting student ID, and I won't get any error. And you can see that automatically this place is marked good, showing that there is student already, whether you put it or not. So I can go ahead and set up this course code again. You see, that error wasn't there again, but I didn't put student ID. But instead of having a quote mark, you now put it null for me. Okay, so that is the class that we have today. Notice the entity diagram. This defines the table that we just created, the relationship between the tables. That's what this entity diagram is. But before you even design the table, you must have seen the entity diagram to be sure that that is what it is. So as a software engineer, you must understand these diagrams because you will be the one drawing them, of course. You'll be the one drawing them. So when you are creating table, when you are designing the database, keep these pictures in mind. They will tell you at a glance what the table will be like. Because if you are looking at this table and you want to judge it from what we have here, you can't see the relationships. Can you see the relationship from anything you're doing? You can't know the relationships from here. But if you have a picture that shows you what is happening inside the table, as simple as this picture is, you will now know, okay, the lecturer is related to this table, the student is also related to this table. If that is the design. There are also some designs that the lecturer will be in a different table and the student will be on a different table. It depends on the data requirements that you collected from the organization you are designing. In that case, the diagram will not be like this again. So the diagram will now have another box. For example, this one can now be called student courses. So these student courses will now be where these students will be linked, maybe here. So we now have this moving on to here. And then this is no more here. So each of the tables is now different, separated, but there is still a relationship. As you can see, maybe semester will now relate them. Maybe there will be a semester table where these courses and these lecturers, all of them will come to semester. Because the teacher will teach in the semester, student will attend course in his class in the semester, or however it is. So you have to play around with the entity diagram with the table you design. When you design a database, you draw a diagram, especially when it is SQL. You must have this entity relationship diagram because it is the relationship that separates SQL from no SQL. I hope you know that. So when you do SQL, you draw an entity diagram so that at a glance, you yourself will see what you're designing. Another person will see what you're designing. It helps. So that's the end of the class today. If you have questions, you can ask. I didn't get the diagram. I drew it. I'm the one that drew it. I didn't get it anyway. Are you talking about the application I used to draw it? It's Paint. But that does not mean you'll be using Paint. I use Paint for you to see what I'm doing. You draw it on your paper. You can also use MS Word. If you have MS Word, depending on the application you want to use. You can use MS Word to draw. But if you are looking for a software for software engineering drawings, it is called Smart Draw. You download it. All these images are there already. You don't need to be drawing them by yourself. Just drag it and drop and keep. It's called Smart Draw. When they came out, it's free, but now I think they are, but they'll still give you some months before they can cut it off. So if you like, you can download it. If I see that everybody have it, I can teach you how to use it. But if people don't have it, move on. Smart Draw. Okay, so that is the end of class today. If you have questions, project. Then I will give you an assignment. You have to design a table for an organization. So that table we have to do with the staff registration, staff attendance, staff salary. What else again? Yeah, staff registration, staff attendance, salary. Just thinking of another thing to add there so that we can have at least 4 tables. No, staff name is not a table. Staff registration, that's where the name will be now. Name, designation, whether it's the post you hold, your gender, phone number, contacts, that's where it is. Then attendance will be name, days, time and date. But that time and date will be stamped. Then student staff ID. Then which other one? Salaries. So in salaries, you also have the staff ID, then the amount, the year and month. Then when you are done, you draw the entity diagram for me. I want to see it. Yes, I'm thinking how you can make the table for, but yeah, but if I remember how to make it for, I will send it on the learning platform. I said design a database for an organization, for a company. The first table will be staff registration or staff table. So that one we have staff name, address, designation or position. Any of the two names you can use it. Then email address, phone number. That's all. Then you will do another table, the one we call attendance. The attendance table will be the staff ID, date, time. That's time in, time out. Time in, time out. It should be there. So both will be a stamp. Both will be stamped. Then we now have salary. Under salary, we have staff ID, amount, month and year. Bonus, okay. Grade level will be on the registration, on the staff registration, yes. So now the important thing, I know you can design these tables, but the important thing is to draw the relationship. I want to see the relationship. Whether you draw it on paper and show me, fine. If you use a software like a MS Word or Paint or that Smart Draw, anyone you use, just let me see the relationship. Draw the relationship, not the table. I'm thinking the one we used to make it for, but I still didn't get it. About 3, you can use 3 for the start. In our next class, I've cancelled it. Oh, I've closed the application. So that is the I couldn't access online people to see whether they are asking questions or saying anything. So do you have any question or anything you want to say or ask because we are closing? Yeah. Hmm. Yes, I will come to you privately. Let me see why.